Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since I've done a video, but Phil Spencer has done a couple of interviews, one with Rolling Stone magazine and one with Bloomberg. There's a lot in these interviews, so let's jump straight into it.
We're on a mission from God.
Microsoft's gaming chief is still open to acquisitions after the Activision deal. After a tough year, Microsoft Corp's video gaming chief is still looking at acquisitions and charting how to compete and partner in the markets for handheld gaming devices and mobile stalls. Deals that add geographic diversity, including Asia, might be worthwhile, Phil Spencer said in an interview Tuesday at Bloomberg offices in New York. Buying another mobile company would add to the titles Microsoft picked up in its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year, he said. Not something that we'd care about as console gamers or as PC gamers, but whatever bolsters that market, as long as they don't start turning in that direction. I'm very concerned about their strategy and how wide it seems to be and broad. I think they should focus on doing one thing well first, because I don't think they've done one thing well for quite some time. You might disagree, and that's absolutely fine. I think we're hitting our stride with games and game cadence, but we'll see. We definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, absolutely we'll keep our heads up, Spencer said. Still, there's nothing imminent, and very large deals are probably off the table at present as the company is spending a lot of time absorbing Activision Blizzard employees, he said. And as well, they shouldn't. They had a lot of problems absorbing in Bethesda, and they obviously didn't know what was going on with Redfall. We won't go back and talk about that, but if you know me, you know I've been staunchly against large acquisitions after ABK. I thought ABK was a good idea, a good deal. Maybe didn't turn out the way that we expected it to turn out. However, for them to be buying up more publishers, I think is bad for the industry. Large consolidation is always bad for any industry. It reduces competition, it reduces innovation, it can reduce quality. These things can happen, doesn't mean they will happen. You can argue against them. But the proof is in the history. And in history, we have seen that happen with large companies that buy up the market. So we don't want that. We want healthy competition. We want PlayStation to feel like it's on the back foot competing. We want Microsoft to feel like they're on the back foot competing. And they've always got to come forward with something new, more quality, more innovation, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, if you know me, you know I'm against the acquisitions. I wouldn't mind if they bought up a mobile studio or if they're buying up something that was strategic like a Chinese studio or something to fill a gap in their portfolio studio-wise that they didn't have. But on the whole, for large acquisitions from Microsoft, I think they need to focus on what they have, focus on getting that out the door at a decent clip, a good cadence, and then focus on making that quality. Once you've done that, then you could look at other acquisitions. But at the moment, you should have your hands full with ABK. Microsoft wants to diversify the teams working on games by looking more to China, he said. Exactly like I said. The company developed a new mobile version of Age of Empires and a world-building franchise that first appeared in the 1990s by partnering with Tencent Holdings. Microsoft and Tencent released the game globally in October. I don't think it's a good idea to partner with Tencent in any way, shape, or form. I think they're a risky company to be in bed with. But Microsoft works with everyone, and that's how they've become prolific. It's been a good area for us to learn from creative teams that have real unique capability, Spencer said. The real opportunity is to partner with creative teams in China for global, which they do need to do, but I would argue that you start small and work your way up. So don't partner with Tencent. Work with the smaller companies in China. Build them up. Create your franchises that way. It's always a better way to do it. You can use an existing studio. You don't need to buy it up. You can partner with them. Build up bigger studios. I wouldn't be partnering with Tencent unless that's a regulatory thing where China wants you to partner with NetEase or Tencent. I'm not too sure about the regulatory requirements. However, I don't feel like putting money in Tencent's pocket is a good idea, just based on history. Back to the article. The executive, who has repeatedly professed his admiration for handheld game devices, said the expectation is that we would do something in that category. Although the company is working on prototypes and considering what it might do, Spencer also asked his group to look at the market and develop its vision based on what it learns. Such a device is a few years out, he said. So that's interesting. We all thought this handheld was coming quite early. maybe this year. Some said. I didn't say this year, but I was thinking maybe 2025, 2026, we would see that handheld. We possibly might, but he said a few. That would be over 3. I'm interested to see when the next console is coming. That's what I want to hear about. What's its capabilities? What are we looking at here? I've got some thoughts on that we can talk about later in the video. In the coming months, designers and engineers will focus on making the Xbox app work better on existing portable devices and partnering with hardware makers to make sure their products sync with Xbox games and experiences, he said. The Xbox app right now is good rather than great on some of these gadgets, he said. Yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with the PC app as well as the handheld app. Like, that should be a serious focus if you want to corner some of the PC market, some of the handheld market. You should be making that your number one priority. Unfortunately for console owners, I think that is their number one priority. Back to the article. Longer term, I love us building devices, Spencer said, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning and what's happening now. Of course, it's called R&D. The company's planned online store for mobile games has been delayed as the group does additional research on the market, Spencer said. Xbox President Sarah Bond has announced the store in May and with a planned release date of July, but staffers are still talking to mobile developers, including those responsible for Microsoft-owned Candy Crush and Call of Duty Mobile, to figure out a plan. As regulatory cases involving Apple Inc.'s iOS and Alphabet Inc.'s Android mobile stores work their way through courts in various countries, Microsoft still doesn't have an effective way to get its own store on mobile apps. Yeah, and that is a bit of a problem. iOS needs to just suck it up and open up that store. It's time. So a web store would mean somebody doesn't have to go into the app store to try to install something, but you still have to have a way to find the store, Spencer said. So obviously, discoverability would be bad on iOS if you have to go through a web app. You have to find another way to get it to your eyes, and realistically, that's a lot of work. If it's just in there in the app and it has good discoverability. Back to what Spencer said. He said, if we're just hoping, like, if we build it, they will come. A reference to Field of Dreams. I love that for Phil. I'm going to bet that doesn't work, and I would agree it wouldn't. That means that Xbox has to make its store unique for players and figure out what will draw content creators. At the same time, it's preparing for a world where Apple and Google mobile devices are more open to Xbox. Let's hope that that happens. I think the ball is moving in the right direction, Spencer said. I think this idea of open platforms where users have more choice, creators have more choice, you see the momentum, right? No, Phil, I don't think everyone sees what you see. I think you guys see well into the future, and that's a problem because you act upon the future as if it's now, and it is not always now. You need to smartly move the ball forward and do it slowly and in a way that doesn't scare off consumers, which is a problem that you guys have. You need to work on this. You would think TV was 110% correct. Don Matrick wasn't wrong. We're living in a world of TV, of streaming services. We're living in that world. They saw where the market was going when they saw the excessive, they saw the apps, they saw everything, and they push for that. But when you're a gaming platform, what matters most is games. And that's just what it is. After releasing the first batch of Xbox games for Sony Group Corp's PlayStation and Nintendo Co.'s Switch, Spencer is pleased with the results. Microsoft will do more of that, he said, and won't rule out any in-game Microsoft stable. I did not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not, he said. It's too early to make any sort of decision on the next version of Halo, he said. What are you saying, mate? Even if that's the case, the best thing for you to do is either out and out say what you're doing or shut up about it. Don't get me wrong. I love Phil, love Xbox. Everyone knows I'm a huge... Anyone who's got any idea about me knows I'm a huge Xbox fan. You got to stop doing this. You got to stop going, maybe. We don't want to hear, we don't know. We don't want to hear that shit anymore. Like, no one wants to hear it. Like, no one wants to hear Halo go into PlayStation. That's a bridge too far for me. You're going to see some fireworks if that happens from my end of things. But regardless of that, a lot of people don't care. Maybe you could do what Deadly Headley's idea was, which was to push that into, take the multiplayer over there, try to bring people over for the campaign. You could do it vice versa. It'd probably work both ways. There's lots you could do that. But either say you're doing it, or don't say anything, or say you're not doing it. You haven't said a definitive statement about what's happening with these major tentpole franchises. These are your major tentpole franchises. Every single platform requires exclusives. I don't understand why the Xbox defenders keep defending this. Let me just say it again. Every single platform requires exclusives. That means Prime. That means Netflix. That means Xbox. That means PlayStation. That means all of them. So you've got to pick which ones are your red line. You should see some red lines. You should be this one, too good to send. This one, mid-range game, we send. This one already has a big community, we send. This one, too good to send. You keep your best stuff for you to try to bring people into your ecosystem. Everything is an Xbox. If you're everywhere but PlayStation and everything is an Xbox, you should be pushing enough revenue that you don't need to be sending those major tentpole franchises to PlayStation. And being maybe about it isn't what your fans want to hear. You're pissing off your base, your hardcore base. Like, I'm not pissed. Don't get me wrong. People are going to say, what do you know about running a major company? Well, I mean, look at what these major companies do. They lose money hand over fist. PlayStation with Concord. Xbox with Xbox One. You're going to tell me that they know what they're doing? Listen, any company, major company, has consumers. Their hardcore tight base consumers are the ones that you look after, and everything out from there you work with. Sending Halo, Gears of War, or even Forza will probably be a bridge too far, and you need to look after that core base. You start pissing off your core base, what do you have? If you've got people who are loyal to your company and come to you for your products, and then you spit in their face, that's not good business. If they feel they need to either say they're doing it, say they're not doing it, or shut up about it altogether, right? It seems like they've closed up all the leaks. So that's my take on that. A lot of people are talking about it. Frankly, I'm over it. As long as there's another console, that's all that matters. So, but I mean, it does piss off a lot of your core base. So what are you doing? Like, and it's not that you're doing it. People get over what you do, but they get sick and tired of the language that you're using. Just shit or get off the pot. Back to the article. Following Activision's acquisition, Xbox cut more than 2,500 jobs and closed 3 game design studios. 2, actually. One of them got bought. With the company exiting what management calls a difficult year. Well, yeah, 2. The company calls a difficult year amid challenging mobile game market. Phil Spencer feels very good about 2025. The Xbox business had never been more healthy, he said, citing growth in cloud and PC gaming as well as console usage. The business is performing right now, and I think that means a more healthy future for hardware and the games we build. Spencer also said he's optimistic about the growth of mobile games. I feel pretty good about where the industry is going, he said, to reach new players. We need to be creative and adaptive of new business models, new devices, new ways of access. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. That's the thing everyone's missing. So, let's read that again, because a lot of y'all out there didn't understand that. And a lot of y'all out there are resistant. Why am I saying y'all? A lot of you guys are resistant to what he just said. Let me say it again. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. Have we seen a $1,000 console? Has there been a major expectation of $1,000 consoles? So why would he say it? Because looking at the components, if you want to make a generational leap, you're going to need to be spending about $1,000 on a console. They will, at least. So I put up a little bit of a post, which I wanted to switch to here. Said, people keep telling me that the next Xbox won't cost over $700. This is a build that should be able to do 4K, 60 FPS comfortably, 1440p with 120 FPS, with some caveats. There always is, depending on optimization, as always. All prices are in USD. I'm Australian, so obviously those prices are much higher for me. This thing will not manage ray tracing consistently at 60, which is what I think what a lot of people are expecting, right? So listen, CPU Ryzen 7, 5800X. GPU Radeon RX. You can see all them on the thing. I'm not going to read the ones on the screen. Those components, they total 1,334. I've had a lot of pushback in the comments. There's 85 comments and 47 likes. Let me go to your top comments here. Let me just speak to these guys. One of these guys is a long-time fan of the show, BT Maverick. Got all love for him. The only thing with those prices is that they are the price after each middleman has made profits. I'm sure MS and Sony would be able to make a similar performance for less, as they would be buying components directly from manufacturers, but for $700, I don't know. Absolutely. Someone else said, all those prices you pay, Microsoft and Sony get massive discounts by ordering millions of units. Half that price, you'll be in the ballpark of what they pay for components. Okay, fair enough. Was waiting for that answer. You've got to factor in R&D, right? They've put in a shitload of research and development. You'd be talking millions of dollars on each console. The R&D starts before the R&D for the next console started before the Series X was launched. It's millions of dollars they've put into that. That's wages, power, all your overheads, absolutely everything. Then you've got to think about manufacturing. The price of silicon has gone up 6.1% since 2020. It has not gone down. Inflation has risen. Things are more expensive. Everything is more expensive. Fuel, every type of energy, more expensive. So they've got to put that's a lot of on cost in manufacturing. Then you've got your shipping costs. All of that has gone up. To get a console, components in it, manufactured, and then shipped, that they may get a discount on the components, but it's not by half, not even close. I could say that they would probably be able to build, I think, the next one. And this is just a rough based on not much, but a rough off the top of my head. I think you could do 800, right? BT Maverick 707 said, Xbox is going to be able to get those parts for much cheaper because they're buying in bulk. And it's being subsidized through their store and Game Pass. Then by a 1 year or 2 years on the next console release, all of that hardware will be getting marked down for the newer tech. No, that's wrong. That tech will not be getting marked down. You're talking about manufacturing new chipsets. So it's not going to be a 5800X or whatever the fuck it is, right? That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be a bespoke CPU, a bespoke GPU, and it's going to be managed by an APU. It's going to need a motherboard. All that shit's going to be bespoke. It's going to be built specifically to be in the box. So we're not talking about that tech being marked down. As a matter of fact, because it's bespoke and it's only being manufactured by them, that'll be a cost as well. So, guys, you really need to come back to this comment. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. That's not saying there's not going to be $1,000 consoles. I don't think it's going to be 1,000, but they're not saying that there's not going to be $1,000 consoles. He's just recognizing right there that the cost of consoles is going to be high for the consumer and it's not going to grow the market. So if they're not going to grow the market and they're not going to be able to come in at 500 and 700 is already a bridge too far for people, so what do you think they're going to do? They've got to build a powerful enough console that it is a draw to bring you in. The features on that console have got to be A1. There needs to be a guarantee of lock 60 minimum. There needs to be a guarantee of 4K minimum. And then whatever else you get is fruit. If they do that and they can guarantee that to the consumers, you'll see people buy in. But the other thing that you got to think about here They make a premium console and not everyone's going to buy it. They're already third place in the market, but they're working on forward compatibility. You remember that? So forward compatibility, they're not expecting all of their consumers to immediately buy the next console. They're going to still work on the Series X, possibly still the One. We have not seen a generation like this where platform holders and third-party developers have been reluctant to move from the last generation to this. It's going to be even harder the next generation. So you need to just give overhead. You need to give power. You need to promise specific performance metrics. And I think they're going to do that, but that doesn't come cheap. So people who want the next console are going to have to pay for it. You're going to be talking, I think, anywhere from 800, and I think that that's a conservative estimate, up to 1,000. And I will 110% take on anyone about this topic. Like, you cannot build a decent PC to do 4K 60 and 1440p 120 for less than $1,000. They are going to pass on that cost to you. They are not going to run these. This is another thing that comes up. They're not going to run these consoles as loss leaders. It's not going to be that they take a hit so that you buy the software. They're not doing that this round. PlayStation won't do it, and Xbox will not do it. They will be selling you that hardware at a profit. Otherwise, it does not make sense to Satya and Nadella to continue making these consoles because you're not growing the business. If they aren't growing the business with loss leaders, and then you're not getting more software in as a result, there's no point doing that. You should make a profit off your hardware and a profit off your software. That's what I would be doing if I was running that company, and I think that's what they are going to be doing going forward. Well, guys, there you have it. That's one of this article. This video went much longer than I thought it was going to be. As I said, there is a lot in that article to go through, and there's probably some bits that I glossed over here just for length. I will be doing another video on the Rolling Stone article as well. And don't forget, you can catch us live 8 p.m. EST on Friday. And the Friday after that, you'll be able to catch us at a pre-record. Jump in, watch the Infinite Xbox podcast. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more content like this. Peace.